In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the built-in Microsoft Word accessibility checker. Welcome to the Accessibility Guide channel. My name is Sean Jordison, and let's jump into the ring. Now, before we begin, I have something really important to tell you about the built-in Microsoft Word accessibility checker. It does not adhere or align to any current accessibility standard, including Section 508, the WCAG standards, Title II, or any other accessibility law. This means that the checker is really just giving basic guidance on some areas. But just because a document passes the checker does not mean it's totally accessible. I have a sample document pulled up here, and you can run the accessibility checker a couple of different ways. The first method is to select the review button and then select check accessibility. The second method you can use to run the accessibility checker is by going to File, Info, Inspect Document, and then check accessibility. Now in this example, we have an accessibility assistant that appears on the right-hand side. We can go through each one of these elements by simply selecting the item, and it will take us to that location to try and fix the document. In this example, we have an image that's missing alternate text. Let's go ahead and add in alternate text or mark our image as decorative. In this example, let's just mark it decorative. We have content that's missing a table header, and when I select the button, the accessibility assistant jumps us right to that location. Now in this example, I could either mark it as a layout table or use the first row as the header. Or we could select table design and choose which headers we want to apply to our table. Did you know that the Accessibility Guide now offers self-paced courses, and we have a course dedicated to making Microsoft Word documents accessible? If you want to deep dive into some hands-on tutorials and understand the ins and outs of why we do some of this stuff, join the Accessibility Guide community now. There's a link in the description below this video. Next, we have use of merged or split cells. And this is because it's difficult to navigate them with the keyboard. We can simply select split the cells, select OK, and really this is just going to create several other problems in this document. So I'm going to undo that, and this is kind of tricky. Now the best practice is to avoid the use of merged or split cells, but since I know I'm taking this document over to a PDF, it's actually okay to have these merged cells in here. However, if this document was staying in Word, I would not be able to use the merged cells. And so a way that we could fix this is by adding another column to the left-hand side. Let's do that now. I'm going to right-click the table, select Insert, and let's do column to the left. We could then type in the word event, and then this can be moved over. We could take WrestleMania, move that event over. We actually want to put it on the same row, and then we can move Survivor Series and move it over to the same row. And then we can delete this other row that is now blank. And we can delete the other row that's blank. And now we made our complex table much simpler. In this example, it's saying that we are merging cells, but that's not accurate. Let's go ahead and undo that. It's interesting that it's flagging that. Okay, so the error now went away. But you know what's really interesting about this document? So according to Word, it's good to go. There's an issue though. If I press Control F to open up my navigation panel and select my headings button, there are currently no headings in this document. That's not very accessible. Additionally, it does not tell us whether or not our alternate text is any good. If I right-click my image and select View Alt Text, I could simply type gobbledygook into the description, and it's still gonna pass the built-in checker. It also does not check for the proper use of hyperlinks. In this example, we have a full URL, which should not be there. Our URL should have clear and descriptive on-screen text. Now, the built-in accessibility checker isn't all bad. It does a really good job at finding some errors. For example, if our images do not have alternate text, if your tables do not use table headers, and it's really good at identifying color contrast problems. My recommendation is to apply all of your accessibility features into your document and then run the accessibility checker at the very end. That concludes today's video on how to run the built-in accessibility checker from within Microsoft Word. If you want to find out how I can help you get accessible, book a meeting with me right now. There's a link in the description, and as always, I could be your champion for inclusion. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.